The cage was suspended high in the clouds, drifting through the winds of time peacefully, swaying with the occasional breeze. Shielded from the realities of the world outside he had yet to fully grasp was a young boy. The boy never really concerned himself with the future too much. He was still a kid, and quite enjoyed it that way. Yet, he was restless. Time had slipped by without much of a fight from him, not quite as distant from adulthood anymore. The cage he had lived in his entire life was starting to feel a little cramped. He figured it was nearly about time to spread his wings, so to speak. Despite the fact the boy had outgrown the cage of his younger, more simple years, part of him, deep down, wasn't ready at all. The gravity of the situation was slowly beginning to dawn on him. He started to feel an increasingly aggressive tug towards adulthood. Up until this point, he had felt a cozy distance from it, wondering what it would be like from the comfort of his shelter. The peaceful swaying and gentle breeze he had known for most of his life were not the same as they once were. A wispy howl began to heave through the cage's bars, dragging the cage uncaringly through the clouds. The boy was just a passenger for this ride. He tried his best to correct for a more graceful descent. It was, however, no use. As the pull became stronger and stronger, the cage rattled like an enraged machine ready to tear itself apart as gravity violently ripped it towards the ground. The boy felt the forest below start to swallow him. The cage started to twist and tumble as it collided with the whip of branches snapping against it. Whether he liked it or not, his time in the cage was coming to an abrupt end. All of his doubts and fears were coming to the forefront of his mind. What if I'm not ready? This can't be... The ground did not give way for the boy. A searing pain. Dazed and confused, he stumbled as if drunk, bumping into the bars of his cage surrounding him. He squinted ahead, hand half covering his face as he attempted to make out the features of his surroundings. Blades of grass waved lazily at him while the clouds drifted slowly above him, dawdling towards their destination. Oh great. Not only had he fallen from the sky, but now he'd believed that the clouds were mocking him by having a place to go while he was stranded. Maybe he'd hit his head a bit too hard. The sudden impact of the fall had left him slightly unsteady on his feet, and he clutched the bars of the cage for balance. It seemed as if with every few days some unconquerable task appeared in front of him. Step by step, familiarity and comfort faded in the face of independence and change. Some days this was exciting, invigorating. Finally, something new. Other days he wanted to rewind time, maybe crawl under his blankets and stay there for the next, maybe decade or so. This was definitely one of those latter moments. The boy stepped cautiously out from his cage, noting with relief that the soil was soft to walk on. He had no idea where to go, but at least the journey wouldn't be too painful. He slowly continued on, jumping slightly whenever a twig snapped beneath his feet, but nonetheless steadily moving forward. He picked up the pace, wincing slightly as the icy wind shrugged its way past him. The sky darkened, his limbs ached, his thoughts were blurry with fatigue, but he could feel his confidence grow, ever so slightly. He made it this far after all. Looking back, he couldn't even see where the cage stood. The boy smiled for the first time in hours. It was going to be tough, but maybe he could be independent after all. He wasn't entirely sure what he was doing, or where he'd end up, but he was certain that he could make it through. It was time for him to explore somewhere new. He took a deep breath in and embraced the new change.